Hi, everybody. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about traditional Chinese medicine and specifically its roots to Taoism, and also talking a little bit about how it's being presented today. Come join us.
Welcome back to Daoist Gate Talks. My name is Rick Johanson, and we're here with Master Zhou Xuan-Yun and Henry Lee.
Hi.
And today we're going to talk about traditional Chinese medicine. So I know I've heard that some of it does have its roots in Taoism, but what's been your experience with Chinese medicine, and what can you tell us about it?
OK， 我们先讲呢，就是讲这个医学啊，关于这个医学在这个道教里面，就是这个关于这个道人呢，在这个古代的话，就是我们有一句话叫10道就医。10道就医就是说90%的这个道士他都会懂医，都去学医。
So first and foremost, let's talk about there's this old saying for ancient Taoists that say for every 10 Taoists, 9 of them will understand medical studies. They'll understand medicine. So, it's just a rough translation, but basically saying 90% of them knew some form of had medical capacity, essentially.
因为就是说，因为这个医学在这个道人里面，它是这个养生呢，就是它这个养生的一部分。所以说，你要去养生的话，你要这个调理的话，你必须要去懂得这个医学。
So because Taoism is so deeply connected with the idea of longevity and how do we preserve the body, of course, medical knowledge is going to come up as a part of it. So as a result, a lot of Taoists understood medical practices and how to fine-tune the body, keep it in good working order.
所以这个医学在道教里面，它和这个什么都是有关系，和这个五行啊，就因为这个医学它不只是说我就是说练这个懂这个草药或者懂这个针灸，它和这个道教的这种哲学它都是有联系的。
So Taoism, it's actually a very rich connection with the Taoism. It's not something as simple as, here's a few herbs that I know that'll take care of this, or here I know some acupuncture points that will take care of this. One of the prevalent theories in Taoist and the Taoist book is the so-called 5 elements or 5 phases. And this has a deep connection with sort of that underlying theory on how you view the human body and how you view medicine.
所以说在以前就是说好的就是在这个道教里面讲一个好的一个中医，就比较厉害的中医，第一个他都懂五行，也都懂算卦，有的人呢还懂这个看面相，就看这个气。对。
So Taoists that were well renowned for their medical ability, or just their Taoist studies in general, they would be able to do a whole host of things. So they would be able to first and foremost, they would understand the 5 elements and how that's a theory that integrates into the medicine, into nature, every little aspect. They'd be able to do fortune telling, reading the so-called trigrams, and then also in terms of once again the medical theory, they'd be able to even be able to look at your face and sort of see the state of your body's qi just by looking at your facade or your appearance.
对，所以说这个道人呢，就是说他很多说就是说你这个懂这个中医，你不能说在这个说只去学习一个这个就是这个医学里面这个就很简单的这种什么其实针灸它对于这个道人来说，它是一个就很简单，就是你懂这个穴位了，就是懂这个按摩了，你都要去学这个针灸。所以说最重要的最高层次就是要去学哲学。
Okay. So it's, when you start out with the medical aspect of Chinese medicine, it does start out as something as simple as, I know all of the meridians of the body, you are in this acupuncture point. But, that's sort of level 1, or it's very basic information. It's said that Taoists who really were able to have a really high efficacy in treating patients, they had a very strong grasp and understanding of Taoist theory.
所以说就是说作为这个道教在这个道教里面这种医学呢，它还包括了，用我们现在来讲的话，也包括了心理学。就是所以在道教治病了，包括他有的人他用这个画这个符箓，就是我不知道你懂不懂这个符箓，就是画这个看就是像这个美国这个 magic， 就是画这个 这个纸画在这个纸上面呢，包括这个然后有点这个画符啊，就是烧掉啊，怎么样，这都是在这个医学里面的一部分，都算是在里面的。对。
So another aspect of the Taoism and its treatment is it even includes an element of sort of psychology or treating I don't want to say mental issues, but just psychology. And a part of that was the image that a lot of folks have of Taoists is they write these talismans. They have this piece of paper, they write a charm or whatever, and then they might burn it. And that's meant to sort of help, it can be thought of as pushing away bad spirits, what have you, but basically helping to treat somebody's psychological state as well.
所以在这个武当山呢，就是有一个例子，就是在这武当山的时候一个例子，就是说有在一个那地方有一个中医，他信中医，但是他不怎么，他虽然是个道士，他就是说非常尊重他自己的中医，他非常相信他的中医但是他不怎么相信道教的这种画符就是有的一个病人呢，就是到武当山去求病，就一直拉肚子，说怎么样他都给治不好。然后后来找到一个道士，另外一个道士就是一个高工，他会画符，说那个人画了个符，然后一烧，他一喝掉，好掉了。
So, for instance, there was a Daoist on Wudang that he had a fundamental sort of respect towards the Daoist theory. It's 5 elements, all this, the guidelines for understanding the medical studies. But when it came to something like the talismans, he thought that's a little too far-fetched. So for instance, there's a story of how he had a patient, their stomach hurt a lot, and he tried everything in his book, and no matter what he did, he just could not solve this problem. This person always said, my stomach still hurts. And so eventually this patient found a Taoist that was able to draw talismans. That was their specialty. And what they did was they wrote up a talisman for them, burned it, and with those ashes gave them a concoction. And after the patient ingested that, no problem, they were all set.
All right. Well, so from your training, whether it be on Wudang or in your own practice, have you learned some disciplines of Chinese medicine?
作为我呢，就是说，我以前呢在武当山的时候，就是说，怎么说呢？就是说身边有的这个道士，就遇到一个道士，他们算卦，他们都会中医，有很多道士都会那么一点点，就经常在里面你这个地方不舒服，你要不要就是买点这个药煮一下，他都会给你讲。就武当山在以前的时候，他自己也卖一些药，他们都会给你讲这个成分，给你讲是一个什么药。怎么样？后来呢？我在云游的时候，就到别的一个山上，有的一些道士经常上山上采药，他都让我跟上，然后我们一起到山上去采药。
Okay. So, 师父, like we said, the Taoists, 90% of them know some form of medicine. So, while he was being raised on Wudang, he would come into contact with some Taoists that, all of them sort of have these fundamental tricks, like saying, you have this problem? Here, take this herb, put these together, and this will help you out. So, especially when he did his wandering phase and traveled to other temples, Sifu would run into all these Taoists that say, I have to prepare my stores, I have to get the herbs in case I have patients. So he would actually travel with them a lot, and along the way, they'd be picking herbs, bringing them back to the storehouse, and they'd sort of be chatting, just saying, this is good for this. So in that sense, Sifu, just kind of by osmosis, learned quite a bit.
对，有的人就是到外面摔伤了，然后过来，他们就是说就是说像摔伤了，怎么样把这个骨头给接住啊？怎么去按摩呀？然后怎么去针灸啊？然后有的时候他们就是说太忙了，那怎么办？就让我也帮一下忙，所以说交给我一点点，所以我都去做，有时候也帮别人做针灸。不过这是很多年前的事情了。
So, especially some of these Taoists were very, very capable in their arts, and their medical arts specifically. And what would happen is that lots of people would come to see them. Maybe they took a spill, they took a fall, and it was like, please help me, my leg hurts, or whatever the injury is. So along the way, Sifu got to, it's simultaneously chatting, saying, this person's fallen down, so you would do this, you would do this, you would do this, and here you would put a needle here, and it'll help make it better. And because he spent so much time with these Taoists, eventually, if they got too large of a workload, too many people came to see them, they'd have Sifu say, you remember what I told you, right? Can you help me out there? I'm a little too busy. Can you treat this patient for me? And so Sifu, from experience, did pick up quite a bit.
对，因为这个其实说所有的这个东西，第一个就是说你学了可能你记得，最主要的我觉得呢，就是我很长时间没做了，所以我有点不太愿意去做。所以因为这个东西它最主要它是一个经验，它经验非常非常重要。就这个医学这个经验。对。
So even though Sifu knows all these things, it's like anything else. Experience plays a huge factor. Seeing different types of patients, different types of presentations. So even though Sifu has the experience before and kind of has a fundamental understanding, it's something that he's not comfortable just saying, hey, I can take care of you. He hasn't done it in a long time. This was many years ago. So it's something that, he has the experience, but, it's not something where he'd put up a sign and say, hey, acupuncture, medicine. So...
Well, speaking of that, I know that you are a licensed acupuncturist and herbalist. So you want to tell us about your experience?
Yeah. So I actually learned from the New England School of Acupuncture over in Watertown, Massachusetts. And, it was a 3-year program where I got my master's degree in acupuncture in herbal medicine. So, I graduated in 2012, and ever since then, I've just opened up my own clinic. And I see a lot of patients, for me, because of the martial arts background, I spent a lot of time with orthopedics or, musculoskeletal issues. So, and it just became a natural progression that, I had friends in the martial arts where they did mixed martial arts, kung fu, and, something where over time to say, hey, you've learned acupuncture. Do you have something in your bag of tricks for like a busted up shoulder? And so, I ended up treating a lot of athletes nowadays. But it's really fascinating because even though I learned from an accredited institution, what's really interesting is going back and seeing how traditional Taoist thought really is pervasive in there. So, the thing is that I think the main issue is people see traditional medicine and modern medicine, and they're really mutually exclusive things. It's like Sifu says, the talismans and stuff like that. The idea of like, oh well, the ancient ways are like hocus pocus, they're fake. But I think it's what it is that it's a different framework to explain similar phenomena. So it's not something that you can just frou away and say, oh, the 5 elements. It's that has no medical scientific basis. It's a useful guideline to explain all phenomena that we would see in modern or Western viewpoints. So it's really interesting to go back and look at traditional methods and modern methods. You can't have one without the other. And so what's interesting is I started out with just modern medical studies. I would look at anatomy. I would look at the way to sports medicine, take this continuing education course, and all incredibly useful. But then, studying with Sifu and learning the traditional theories, you really see, wow, it's actually, this is a really useful way to think about this model of the body. And what's really fascinating to me now is a lot of modern studies are finding a lot of correspondences with the ancient theories. So, nowadays there's theories such as like anatomy trains where a lot of these connections in the musculoskeletal system, they're saying, hey, this line conspicuously looks a lot like an acupuncture meridian. Like this is the so-called lung meridian. It's wow. So there is a logic there, and I think it's just framing it in the right state of mind to understand. This isn't necessarily some sort of ethereal thing we can't see. There is a logic here, but we just have to figure out the way to explain it so that everyone can understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that some health plans actually cover acupuncture, or in part, so it's getting more assimilated. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's more and more. The more research we do, the more we're finding the scientific explanation for these things that we could only explain in these very abstract terms before. So it's an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us for today. If you'd like more information on the class or Sifu, it's DaoistGate.com is the website. And if you want to learn more about what Henry does, it's HenryLeeWellness.com. All right. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, Chad.
Well, you learned anything today, Rick?
I did, yeah. I didn't. That's a lot of stuff was new to me, and
I was noticing today. It's actually you look like you got a stiff back. It's have you ever tried stuff like this, acupuncture, herbal medicine for anything like that?
I never have. Yeah, I have a stiff back. I missed class today, which it never makes you feel good. And so before we filmed, I leaned forward and like cracked the back of my spine.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it.
So I would, I'd be open to it. I've never had acupuncture.
Awesome. All right. So come on by and visit sometimes.
All right.
Well. So guys, I've got Rick coming to see me. If you have any questions about Chinese medicine or today's topic, like, subscribe, go ahead and comment in our Facebook, YouTube, wherever you can find us. And as always, guys, if you have a topic you'd like us to address, go ahead and, once again, send a comment down below and we'll see if we can get to it. And until then, I'll see you in the office.
You don't use needles, do you?
It's acupuncture, man.
Oh, I thought it was like a kind of massage.
We'll talk about it.
No, I could do needles.
All right, sounds good. All right, until next time, guys. Bye now.